It's 11 p.m. and these are the headlines. UNSC highlights President's role as the African Union's advocate against terrorism, adopting a landmark statement recognizing their role in prevention efforts at the highest international level. And a second group of Palestinian prisoners released from the Zionist jails as part of the Gaza ceasefire agreement, and the Algerian television captures the joy of their families. The Secretary of State to the Minister of Foreign Affairs responsible for the national community abroad met with Algerian nationals in northern Italy with the objective of deepening ties between Algeria and its talented diaspora. Full report coming up. The province of Lagouat commemorated the 3,600 Algerians martyred by the French colonial army, a tribute to a chapter in Algeria's history and collective memory. Welcome back, everyone, to tonight's news, and we're starting strong with the adoption by the UNSC of a presidential statement initiated by Algeria, highlighting the institutional framework for combating terrorism in Africa. This marks the first international recognition of the African Union's role in addressing terrorism, with the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, chosen by African leaders to lead this critical responsibility. Najah Tayyar explains.
Algeria has played a pivotal role in reinforcing Africa's capacity to confront terrorist threats on its own soil. At various UN Security Council meetings, Algeria has consistently reaffirmed that Africa is fully capable of assuming this responsibility autonomously. This position has garnered significant international recognition, with the UN Security Council officially validating Algeria's leadership in the security matters and its commitment to the continent's stability.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to begin by saluting the Algerian President's efforts to combat terrorism in Africa. We also salute the high-level meeting you held to discuss terrorism in Africa. This demonstrates the excellence of Algerian diplomacy. Our delegation is honored by these open debates on the fight against terrorism in Africa, and we thank Algeria for leading the debate about this scourge, which poses a major threat to the continent and to many other parts of the world.
Burundi is delighted to be taking part in this open debate and congratulates Algeria on the relevance of the topics addressed during its month-long presidency of the Security Council, particularly the session on the fight against terrorism, a persistent threat that weighs heavily on international peace and security.
Monsieur le Président, je félicite l'Algérie.
I congratulate Algeria on the remarkable way in which it presides over the Security Council, and thank you for chairing this important public forum.
For the first time, Africa's counter-terrorism mechanisms, such as the African Intelligence and Security Services Commission, AFRIPOL, and the African Forces Counter-Terrorism Unit, have been recognized as essential. This acknowledgement underscores the continent's efforts to develop a robust security structure to combat the terrorist threat. It also represents a critical step forward, enabling Africa to strengthen its role in defining and implementing solutions to its security challenges under the leadership of its states and in partnership with the international community. With the international community now in a position to define and implement its own solutions to the security challenge, the international community must better support the rise of the African Union's peace and security by providing sufficient, predictable and sustainable funding for counter-terrorism operations, modernizing military equipment and combating the proliferation of weapons of all kinds. Algeria's strategic vision and political discretion have allowed it to not only safeguard its borders, but also fostering continental cooperation against terrorism by linking security with development. This initiative, supported by solid international partnerships, goes beyond the mere diplomacy. It reflects a historic shift that embodies the aspirations of an entire continent and reinforces Algeria's status as a key player in the fight against terrorism and for peace in Africa.
And the Minister of Communication, Mohammed Bazian, and as a special envoy of the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, was received today in Nairobi by Kenyan President William Ruto. During the meeting, he delivered a message from President Tebboune, conveying fraternal greetings and reaffirming Algeria's commitment to strengthening ties of friendship and cooperation with Kenya. Discussions focused on deepening bilateral relations and exploring new opportunities for partnership in line with the shared vision of both leaders. The two sides also stressed key African issues, including institutional reform within the African Union. And the Minister of Health, Abdelhak Sehi, acting as special envoy of President Abdelmajid Tebboune, visited Port Louis, the capital of Mauritius. During his visit, he met with Prime Minister Navin Ramgoolam and delivered a message from President Tebboune. Discussions focused on strengthening cooperation in key sectors including fisheries, agriculture, industry, tourism, renewable energies and sustainable development. Both sides emphasized the value of sharing expertise and experience to achieve their shared objectives. Let's have a listen to the Minister.
We have many and very important sectors that will allow us to benefit from the experience of Mauritius. For its part, and as a country, Mauritius will also benefit from our experiences and expertise. Mauritius is indeed developing and is considered as a developed country, which is excellent for Africa. Therefore, I held talks with the Prime Minister regarding cooperation and development of the African continent, as this will pave the way for a better future for both countries and the African continent.
Développement du continent africain, et cela donc augure d'un avenir prospère pour les deux pays et pour le continent africain.
And it's the latest developments of the Gaza ceasefire. 200 Palestinians have been released today from the Zionist jails, with 70 of them being deported. 114 arrived in Ramallah in the occupied West Bank, and 16 others arrived to Gaza. The Palestinian resistance, for its part, has freed 4 female occupation soldiers as part of the deal. Our correspondent in Gaza, Wissam Abu Zaid, captured these moments of joy as Palestinians finally joined their loved ones. Najh Tayar.
In respect of the ceasefire agreement, the Palestinian resistance released 4 hostages, female Zionist soldiers, today in Gaza Strip. Gaza also witnessed today the release of 200 Palestinian hostages, among them Palestinians held prisoners for 30 years and others who were sentenced to life imprisonment, making a moment of relief and joy for their families after years of separation and hardships.
I'm happy beyond words.
شعور لا يوصف يعني يعجز الكلام والقلم عن تعبيره. نحن على أرض الوطن ثابتين.
Despite the suffering and the misery, we stay in our lands and our houses, steadfast and patient and proud.
تركنا أرض وطننا نحن ثابتين ولنا الفخر والعزة.
We thank God for their release. We are very happy for these moments, yet sad.
In Gaza City, thousands of displaced Palestinians are waiting for the Zionist occupation army to withdraw in the first morning hours from the Al-Rashid and Salah ad-Din streets to return to their homes from which they were displaced and to remove out their martyrs from the rubble.
Since the truce announcement, no one can sleep. We are only waiting for them to leave to the north.
The displaced Palestinians eagerly await a moment of safety and relief after enduring over 15 months of relentless hardship.
And in other news, the economic heart of Italy hosted the Secretary of State of the Minister of Foreign Affairs, responsible for the National Committee abroad, who met with Algerians established there. The meeting aimed to strengthen the ties between Algeria and its talents. Details from Milan with Afif Belushat and Irene Al-Bahri.
Organized by the Consulate General, a meeting in Milan brought together members of the Algerian community in northern Italy, focusing on promoting talent and strengthening ties between Algeria and its diaspora. The event highlighted the community's desire to contribute actively to Algeria's development while playing a key role in Italy's growth.
Milan is the economic capital of Italy, and it's obvious that this topic came up during the discussions held with our community. They're eager to contribute to Algeria's development, and their involvement will benefit both countries.
The gathering marked by shared desire to build solid bridges between Algeria and Italy brought together Algerians settled there, including men and women from different generations, all united by a shared history and a vision for the future, some already acting as bridges between Algeria and Italy in various sectors.
We're here today, we know Italian agricultural techniques, so we can be a real bridge between Algeria and Italy in all areas, whether it is cultural or commercial.
The event emphasized the importance of youth, seen as both a source of hope and a driving force of future projects. Young community members expressed their ambition for deeper collaboration between the two countries.
As an architect, I believe we can participate in multiple areas and collaborate on projects with various actors. There's great potential for joint initiatives. We want to invest in our children by showing them the Algerian culture. This forum shows us how to invest in our country.
This event also celebrated children who excelled in learning Arabic, symbolizing the importance of preserving Algerian traditions and identity. The Algerian diaspora in Milan, as in Naples and Rome, demonstrated its readiness to play a strategic role in strengthening the economic, cultural and human ties between Algeria and Italy.
Moving on to the National Memory Fire now. On December 4th, Algeria remembers a tragedy that marked its history, the massacres of Laghouat. This day serves as an opportunity to honor more than 3,600 martyrs of the extreme violence of the French colonial army. Each year, Laghouat province commemorates this day to ensure that this suffering always comes to light. Rania Al-Bahri.
December 4th, 1852 is remembered as one of the darkest days in Algeria's history during the French colonization. On this day, the city of Laghouat was brutally attacked by the French army, led by Colonel Plissier, who was known by his previous massacres, including the 1845 Dahra Caves atrocities. The people of Laghouat, led by Sheikh Nasser bin Shahra and Sharif bin Abdullah, fought bravely to defend their land. However, the French army, armed with modern weapons and harsh tactics, crushed their resistance. The city was bombarded with shells containing chloroform aiming to mass extermination. The massacre claimed the lives of no less than 3,786 people in just a few days, roughly two-thirds of the city's population. After occupying the city, the French soldiers locked many villagers in burlap sacks and burned them alive, showing extreme cruelty. This horrific event was later called Am Shkayar or Am al-Khaliya, showcasing the barbarism and inhumanity of the colonizer. The use of chemical weapons and toxic gases during the massacres poisoned the land, air and environment, leaving lasting damage. The Laghouat massacre is often referred to as one of the first Holocausts in history and remains a painful memory for Algeria, representing the brutal reality of French colonial rule.
Always with occupation, the occupied city of Dakhla in Western Sahara is a city transformed into touristic destination by the Makhzen regime, and while tourists enjoy its beaches, the underlying reality is in fact a violation of human rights as the Sahrawi people continue to suffer under the Moroccan occupation. Melissa Kibash.
Among all the cities exploited by the Makhzen regime, the city of Dakhla is another example, as it is now a touristic destination with the cheapest airplane tickets. At first, it might sound like it's the perfect paradise that offers a delightful adventure, but when shedding light on all the darkness hidden within the region, we can see the suffering of the Sahrawi people, brutally oppressed by the Makhzen forces and raped out of their right to freedom. According to the Spanish newspaper Publico, the Makhzen is using tourism as a cover-up for its occupation of Western Sahara. José Carmona, the article's author, recalls that Morocco has no sovereignty over the Sahrawi territories. Therefore, all forms of exploitation of its resources must be stopped, urging countries to stop ignoring the violation of human rights in the name of tourism and diplomatic relations. Speaking of human rights, many Sahrawi militants have disappeared within the city, strictly controlled by the Moroccan army to shut down any voice demanding freedom and punish any manifestation defending the identity of the Sahrawi people. The Mahsen might be using the oldest trick in the book as a strategy to maintain the last colony of Africa under his control, but its people have another word to say, as they will pursue their fight for freedom and their right to self-determination.
And tomorrow, January 26, marks International Customs Day. In Algiers, Finance Minister Aziz Faid highlighted the pivotal role of Algerian customs in driving economic development and maintaining financial stability. He commended the Customs Corps for their achievements in 2024, in particular in combating fraud and smuggling. A celebration was held at the National Army Club, attended by government members, senior officials and customs executives. The event also featured the signing of 4 cooperation agreements across various sectors. And that was it for today's news. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.